Enrico Letta, thank you for joining us on Live today. You were Prime Minister of Italy from April 2013 to February 2014, when you led a grand coalition of the centre-left Democratic Party, the centre-right People of Freedom, and the centrist Civic Choice. You are currently the Dean of the School of International Affairs at the Institute of Political Studies, Sciences Po, here in Paris. Now, yesterday, a 4-year-old boy died on a boat in the Aegean Sea. He was declared dead when the craft landed in the Greek island of Chios. His family were among 600 migrants who arrived there just a day after Athens inaugurated a registration and filtering facility, a so-called hotspot on the island, to regulate the huge influx of refugees. In fact, Greece announced on Tuesday that 4 of the scheduled 5 hotspots were ready to operate. Now, the question is the number made ready after intense pressure from fellow European members sufficient to deal with the undiminishing tally of arrivals of people fleeing war or poverty, or war and poverty?
The answer, unfortunately, is easy. It is not enough. It is not enough because of many needs and the raise of the difficulty around the topic. That is a raising topic. We hadn't European Union and member states well prepared to this big new issue. We discussed, I remember, for the first time around this issue in the European Council in 2013, after the Lampedusa tragedy. 366 people died there. And we started to say how unprepared was all the European environment and also the different member states. And I remember the big attention, the big emotion of all the European public opinion when the picture of the poor Aylan, this very poor and sadly dying boy in an island, a Greek and Turkish sea. He died some months ago. And we had a big emotion at that time. Because a kid, because the picture, and for other many reasons. But my feeling is that we, the Europeans, we are not prepared to this big change. And the big change is the fact that migrations are not only like as it was some years ago, a problem of some migrants crossing the Mediterranean during summer. It is not like that. It is more difficult, is wider, and it is also having this problematic approach linked to different religions, ethnical differentiations, and the fact that we are talking about figures that are not 100 or 1,000 people. We are talking about millions of people. And it is the biggest migration move during the last 70 years. We had another migration big crisis after the Berlin Wall fall, but it was not comparable. First of all, because the figures, the numbers today are bigger, and also because at that time it was homogeneous on the religious and ethnical point of view. Now it is completely different. This is why I say it is not enough. What we are doing as a European government is not enough.
Talking of not enough, one of the criteria used in order to filter people out is to differentiate between an asylum seeker, a refugee, and an economic migrant. What do you think of such distinction in today's world? Do they actually make sense?
The distinction makes sense because we are today towards a big crisis of refugees. That is different because around the situation of Syria and what happened in Afghanistan, in Iraq. We can't apply rules that, in my view, we have to apply in other situations in which there is not a war and there is the need and request for there are people coming here in Europe to find a job, to find a better life. That is different because, in my view, there is the possibility to select economic migrants. It is not possible to select refugees. On refugees, we are linked to our values, to our human rights values, and it is necessary that the European Union gives the example in the world, saying that for refugees, for true refugees, of course, not fake, but true refugees, it is necessary to apply human rights values and to welcome them for a period, to save, to rescue their life in the Mediterranean. We can't accept that the Mediterranean became a Mare Nostrum like it was in the last 3 years. Of course, it's not easy. There are many countries where it is not easy to say it is a safe country or it is not a safe country. But I think this distinction in a long term makes sense.
Attitudes of EU governments, however, towards the migrations issue are hardening. Austria is the latest country to announce this week that it was beefing up controls, in this case, of its southern borders. It also announced last month that it would take in fewer refugees this year. The number is now 37,500, down from 90,000 in 2015. Now, the move edges Vienna towards a step closer towards the so-called Visegrad group of countries, Hungary, Poland, Slovakia and the Czech Republic, who want to stop refugees arriving through the Balkans from Greece. Now, is such a clampdown not likely to exacerbate the problem, not only for migrants, but also for those countries giving them asylum?
We experienced inside the European Union for the first time a big political cleavage between East and West. We had this, in my view, very positive process of enlargement in the last decades. But for the first time now, we experience this cleavage. We had some countries, the Visegrad countries, or some of them, having an approach to the refugee crisis that was, frankly speaking, very different from the rest of the European Union. I completely disagreed with some of the statements that Prime Minister Orban in Hungary or the Polish new government about this topic. It is difficult. I'm not saying that it is easy, and I'm not saying that we have to welcome all the refugees. I'm not saying that we have to open the doors to everybody is knocking the door. The point is we have to find common solutions, and we need a common goodwill to find these solutions. It is not just a topic to have internal domestic electoral campaign and to say against refugees, against migrants, we will close the doors. Hungary is for the Hungarians. It is not the aim of the European Union. The European Union aim is to build bridges, not to build walls. The European Union rebirth was the fall of a wall, the Berlin Wall. So the European Union is against walls. The European Union is for bridges. Some people like Prime Minister Orban, they have to be completely aware that this is the main value of the European Union. I repeat, I'm not saying that it is not a problem. I know very well all the problems, the consequences of the migration crisis, but the European Union is a place where we build bridges, not walls.
But so it's a matter of spirit rather than if the spirit is there, the right spirit is there, then solutions will be found or should be found. However, Austrian Chancellor Werner Faymann, along with German Chancellor Angela Merkel, are hosting a meeting on Thursday, tomorrow, ahead of the European Union summit in Brussels with 9 other European countries and Turkey to discuss possible solutions to the issue. Isn't Austria's latest announcement likely to complicate matters for Angela Merkel and perhaps going back to the spirit she represents of openness and tolerance and generosity of the European Union?
I think we are all under-evaluating the consequences for Europe of a crisis in Germany on migrants. Germany opened the doors to migrants, to refugees, in a way that was, in my view, very generous, but also in a way in which the numbers of the refugees arriving in Germany today are affecting the political equilibrium and the social equilibrium in Germany. The possibility to break this equilibrium and to create a political crisis, a social crisis there is very high, and is a period in which we have all the rest of the Europeans, we have to show solidarity towards the Germans. Solidarity, was a name, was a word neglected in the European Union in the last decades. We decided to ban the word solidarity, and it was a big mistake in my view, because the European Union, for the European Union, solidarity is the very core of our staying together. Solidarity was France asked for solidarity after the 13th of November attacks. Germany asked for solidarity. Italy, Greece, Spain, the Mediterranean countries asked for solidarity. The European Union needs to be a union based on solidarity principles. So now we have to be very concrete how to apply solidarity and how to apply responsibility both together. In my view, the key point today is to build a border control European service. It is necessary to have this guard control altogether and to build this service altogether. So German and Italian, Greek and Finnish, French and Spanish policemen working together in the external borders of the European Union and of the Schengen Europe. That is the only way to keep away borders inside the European Union. It's the only way to avoid to have borders among France, Germany, Italy and France. And the European competitiveness needs to eliminate borders inside the European Union, inside the Schengen areas. We calculate that the cost of having borders among us, among the European countries, is a cost around 30 billion euros per year. It is a cost of, it's an enormous cost. We need to avoid to pay this cost, and the only way to do it is to have this possibility to control the external borders and to have the hotspots working. We need to have these hotspots. We have to have them working with people coming from the different countries working all together in a European police control borders. That is, in my view, the first aim, the first need, and I hope the next decisions of the European leaders will be in that direction.
Now, talking of solidarity, you played a key role in 2013, October 2013, in fact, when it started, Operation Mare Nostrum, which was a search and a rescue operation to help migrants coming through off the coast of Italy. That lasted for a year, was replaced by Frontex, we all know. The thing is that the Italian government had requested at the time for more EU funds in order to carry on with search and rescue. The end of Mare Nostrum, for some, was criticised for the increase in the number of deaths in the area. Do you not feel bitter that the European Union at the time had refused to help the Italian government and provide the funds that it was asking for in order to carry on what was a humanitarian operation?
I think bitter is not enough. Maybe more than bitter. Sad, angry for a part of the problem, because after the Lampedusa tragedy, October 13, when more than 300 people died in the Mediterranean, many children. But we didn't have the photo of the children, as it was the case with the Poor Elan in 15. So the emotion of the public opinion was a short-term emotion. This is why during the period of the emotion, I was able to find a consensus to build up the Mare Nostrum operation. That was a military humanitarian search and rescue operation. For 1 year, this operation saved more than 100,000 people. I am proud of what the Italian Marines did there, because Italy is the biggest country, the biggest Mediterranean country. So we know, and that was my point, we have a responsibility in the Mediterranean. So if the other countries won't do anything to save migrants, I didn't take the responsibility to leave them dying in the Mediterranean as Prime Minister of Italy. I decided to help them, and we did it trying also to attack smugglers. Mare Nostrum was not a taxi operation. Mare Nostrum was also an operation to tackle smugglers, and we brought them a lot of them in jail, because the control of the Mediterranean is the precondition to take smugglers and to bring them in jail. And of course, I think it was a big mistake to stop Mare Nostrum, and the consequences of stopping Mare Nostrum were very negative. I think that the decision of the other countries and also the decision of Italy to stop it was a mistake. And now we are there after 2 years without big solutions, in a situation in which, I repeat, there's a set of solutions that we have to put on the table, and we have to apply these solutions. The border control police at the external borders, but also a big Marshall Plan to North Africa, because if we continue without a Mediterranean and Euro-Mediterranean policy towards the south of the Mediterranean, we will continue in a situation in which the migrations will be impossible to manage because of the figures and because of the cleavage between richness and poverty. And this is why I think personally that this topic and the migration issues will be the main topic for the next 10 years. It will be the topic that will influence the political landscape in our countries, will raise parties, will create the collapse of governments. It will be the main topic. This is why we need a European policy on migrations, and we need the member states, the European countries, allowing the European Union to take the leadership on this issue. That was not the case until now.
Enrico Letta, thank you very much for joining us today on Live on Live.